Alright, so we got Lugia. Aeroblast is now in the update, so we got Lugia here, and it's freaking ridiculous. So Aeroblast is 180 energy, 180 damage and 75 energy. We're just gonna compare how stupidly that's really good. In other words, this would make Aeroblast effectively the most powerful move in the game. Not only that, it has a 12.5% chance to give you +2 attack. So this is like basically Night Slash and Solar Beam or Hyper Beam had a baby, and it's Aeroblast. Now for PvE, it doesn't really matter. There's better Pokemon you can use out there for PvE if you want to use Lugia with Sky Attack. Or yeah, there's better flying Pokemon out there that can cover Lugia if you're gonna use it for like raids or if you're gonna use it for like gym battle. Alright, so here we have the movesets basically list from pvpoke.com. And if you look right here, I put the details of Aeroblast. So 180 damage and 75 energy, plus it allows you a +2 attack at a 12.5% chance. So Solar Beam, Hyper Beam used to be like part of like the 7 moves that were the strongest in the game. So if you go right here, so Solar Beam, oh, wait, Solar Beam, where are you at, Solar Beam? Ah, there's Solar Beam. So here's Solar Beam, 150 damage, 80 energy. So if you look at the comparison, there's Solar Beam, here's Draco Meteor. So Draco Meteor does 150 damage for 65 energy. If you look at Brave Bird, Brave Bird does 135 damage, 130 damage for 55 energy. It's just nuts how much damage it does. It's pretty nuts. And it even does more damage than Focus Blast, which is, it's just how insane it is. So the reason why Aeroblast is kind of limited as far as just being for Lugia is because Lugia doesn't have a fast charging fast move. So I guess that's how it balances out, or that's Niantic's logic, is that because it has Dragon Tail, Dragon Tail is a 9 damage move, 10 turns for 3 turn move for 10 energy. So it's basically like Fire Spin. Fire Spin and Dragon Tail have identical stats. It's basically the same thing. So Dragon Tail and Fire Spin are basically... So it's very interesting because Lugia doesn't get stabbed. So Lugia doesn't get stabbed, it doesn't get stabbed. So it won't get that same type attack bonus, and it's slow, which is Niantic's basic logic. Along with that, it doesn't lack a fast move. So this kind of limits Lugia because of that, like, non-fast charging move. This makes Lugia, however, a fantastic closer. If Lugia can land a Aeroblast, it'll probably destroy most things in one shot. So it's like, it's just nuts. So, and it also has Extra Sensory. Extra Sensory does give it stab, however, the thing about Extra Sensory, it's slow. It's basically Dragon Tail but with Psychic Attack. And Psychic type doesn't exactly have like a ton of coverage like around the world. So Extra Sensory may or may not be like the best fast move for Lugia. Well, you can pick either one. They're practically the same thing with one less damage. But Dragon Tail does cover more like relevant meta things. Extra Sensory kinda does. Well, it just depends which league you're in. But for the most part, Lugia's slow, so that's kind of like what balances out. So it's if Lugia had something like Mudshot, then it would be absolutely broken, and we would need to talk to Niantic about their life choices. Now here's an overview of Lugia and the overall rankings. You can get a Lugia for Great League, but it needs to be researched. So Lugia currently for Great League ranks at number 149. Best as the lead for the closer. So Lugia is able to beat things like G-Fizz. It's very bulky in Great League. So with Aeroblast, it gives it that extra oomph. However, what kind of sucks is that without Hydro Pump, it doesn't have coverage versus other typings. So as you see here, it's very strong against very relevant meta picks, and it loses against like pretty common like meta picks as well. However, with Aeroblast, what it does, it would give Lugia 2 flying attacks. So Hydro Pump allows it to cover Galarian Stunfisk. You can't beat G-Fizz going straight Sky Attack. You just can't. So that's what kind of limits Lugia as far as Great League goes. If you were to give it Sky Attack, it barely beats G-Fizz and it loses going straight Sky Attack. So it's very interesting, like how it would play out. Like once the official rankings come out, it'll be really interesting, like how they balance out. And then for Master League, here's where Lugia ranks. Still really good. Like I said, if you're able to hit with no shields, it would be nuts. As you see here, Lugia ranks at number 28. It's very powerful in Master League. The only thing that limits it is the fact that losing its Dialga, Togekiss, Giratina, Gyro, Melmetal. In other words, its key losses are just way too common versus its key wins. And if you notice, like, it's very, like, all of it's, like, it wins hard, but also loses hard. Because a plus 600 rating or near, like Kyogre, is really bad. So Lugia is very powerful. Very powerful for Great League, very powerful for, well, more powerful in Master League than Great League. With Aeroblast, it's going to be really interesting to see how Lugia changes. Because if you look at Hydro Pump and Sky Attack, I mean, Hydro Pump actually has, like, near the same, well, here, let's take a look at ourselves. Here's Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump has 70, no, actually, it would take the same thing. So Hydro Pump and Aeroblast actually have this, like, practically the same cost. So it would take 8 Dragon Tails or 8 extra sensories for you to get to a Hydro Pump or an Aeroblast. That's pretty nuts. So like I said, I'll be doing a video on Lugia once it gets put in the PvP and all the data comes out. However, it's gonna be looking pretty good. The really interesting thing is whether or not how much damage Aeroblast does against what resistance. That's probably gonna be the most interesting thing about Lugia with Aeroblast. Alright, so the technical summary, Aeroblast is looking to be really good for PvP. Now, here's just a little quick review of the details of the event and the times. It's going to be from November 6th, 8 AM to Thursday, November 12th, 10 PM local time. So you got a week where you live. So in Friday morning to November 12th at night, it's from where you are, it's going to be active. So there's several other things. I put the link below for Adventure Week. I did coverage for that event. But you have a week to get Aeroblast Lugia. Now, here's the important thing to remember. You can't get a Great League Lugia from this event. It's going to be either Ultra League or Master League. You don't want to use Lugia for Ultra League because there's too many things that check Lugia in Ultra League. So don't use it for Ultra League. It's best used for Master League. I'll be going over Ultra League just to see if it really does change anything. But having double flying attacks in Ultra League doesn't seem like, from what I'm just like predicting, and in the future, like from what I analyzed for that league in general, it's just not good. But Lugia is going to be really good. So we'll see, like I said, we'll see what happens. You can't get it for Great League, it needs to be from research. It's too powerful, so just keep that in mind. Like I said, you can only get an Ultra or Master League Lugia. That's probably the biggest thing. But it's a week, 6th to November 12th, 8 AM to 10 PM. Make sure you have plenty of, like, I would save your remote raid pass for Lugia if you don't have it. Does that make sense? It's actually pretty difficult. It's pretty easy to catch because its circle is really big, but at the same time, it's going to be difficult to kill it. So you want to save as many passes as you can for Lugia. Anyways, that's the video, guys. Again, like I said, you should hunt for Lugia. Make sure you have plenty of remote raid passes for this beast. It is shiny. That's another thing. Lugia is going to be shiny, and it's going to have Aeroblast, so just keep that in mind. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video.